in the surf, shouting Shakespearean verses to no one over the sounds of the waves and against a recording of Frankie and Johnny Were Sweethearts. The man was Richard Burton, and he was working on a movie called The Prince of Players. Now, what this exercise really did was to develop his concentration, because he'd be so distracted by these other elements in the area, and also his projection, being able to really project these words with the most possible strength available. This was ideal as a role for Richard Burton, because in playing the American Shakespearean actor Edwin Booth, he was also given the opportunity to play Romeo and Hamlet and Henry V and Richard III, a whole group of them. Shouting in the surf was not the only unusual technique that Burton employed to improve his performance in Prince of Players. It was 10 o'clock in the morning when they were about to film a scene in which Burton was supposed to be slightly tipsy, we'll say. So he told the director, Philip Dunn, that he thought that he could play the scene a lot more realistically if he had just a nip or two. Well, there was no alcohol on the set, so Dunn called a break, and he and Burton left the studio lot, and they found a bar that was open. And Burton ordered 2 scotches early in the morning. Well, it was probably 12 o'clock in Rangoon, you know the old story. Well, he downed them one after the other, and then without any hesitation, they returned to the sound stage, and Burton did the scene in one take, and it's kind of the ultimate in method acting, I suppose, but it was just perfect. He knew it would be. The script was loosely based upon the life of Edwin Booth, America's greatest Shakespearean actor, whose life was interrupted when his brother, John Wilkes Booth, assassinated Abraham Lincoln. The supporting cast is full of famous names. Watch for them, beginning with Raymond Massey, who plays another of the Booth brothers. Brother John Wilkes was played by John Derrick before he made a career out of directing movies starring his various wives. Let's watch Richard Burton in Prince of Players.
Just a few minutes more. The show is about to resume any moment, Sir Willie. Please, just...
Is he here? Is Mr. Booth here?
Peace, good pint pot. Peace, good tickle brain. Come, sing me me a bawdy song. Make me merry. I was as virtuously given as a gentleman need to be. Swore little, diced not above 7 times a week. Went to a bawdy house not above once in a quarter of an hour. Paid money that I had borrowed 3 or 4 times. Lived well and in good compass. Now I live out of all order and out of all compass. That's Falstaff, you dunderhead! Shakespeare! The immortal will! The incomparable!
Father.
God give your lordship good time of day. I am glad to see your lordship abroad. Your lordship, though not clean past your youth, hath some smack of age in you, some relish of the saltiness of time.
Father.
And I do most humbly beseech your lordship to have a reverent care of your health. Well, I hear no applause.
Help me, please. This is Mr. Booth. Junius Brutus Booth. Yes, sir. He's got to go to the theater
That
tonight.
Booth?
Please help me to get
I
there.
paid $2 for these tickets, and by gum, he's going to act tonight. Give me a hand with him. Come on here.
I was a little tiny boy with a hey-ho, the wind and the rain. The foolish thing was but a toy, and the rain is raining every day with a hey-ho.
The curtain's an hour late already. The audience has grown impatient.
Impatient? They dare grow impatient with me?
Mr. Booth, come back.
Shut up! Shut up! Sit down! Be quiet for 10 minutes, and I'll give you the damnedest kingly air you ever saw! The name is Booth! Now then, lad, below stage with you. Study your lessons. You may assemble the players on stage. I shall be ready for my entrance. Blow winds and crack your cheeks. Blow, rage! You cataracts and hurricanes, spout, you sulphurous and thought-executing fires. Vaunt couriers to oak-cleaving thunderbolts.
Singe my white head, and thou, all shaking thunder, smite back the thick rotundity of the world.
I acted well tonight. I don't want any food.
Father.
Go home, Ned. Go back to the hotel.
Please, Father.
I'm going out.
No, I won't let you
The
go.
madness is on me. I can't
I
stand
don't want you to
it.
go.
Let me go, boy.
You shall not go out. Father, please. I'll sing to you. It always soothes the madness. Father, come out. I'll call someone to smash down the door. Do you hear me? Father, you'll smother in there. Are you all right? Speak to me! Are you all right? Oh, somebody help me!
I'm sorry, Ned. You know I love you.
I know, Father.
If only I could sleep.
Darkness rides across the sky to hide all tears and sorrow. He steals away each worn-out day and leaves a new tomorrow.
Miss Asia! Miss Asia! Your father's come home! It's your father, Mr. Ned!
Father. Ned. Asia.
How are you, Mr. Booth?
Asia,
Father, what is it?
I'm all right. It's just rest I need. So we've come home to you, Ned and I.
How are you, Ben?
Just fine, Mr. Ned, just fine. How are you?
Just fine, thanks. You can put the horses away now.
All right.
Ned! Ned! Ned, you're home. Father. Johnny, don't go in. Why not? Father's sickness is on him again. It would be better not to see him for a while. Charleston, receipts $804. He played Othello. St. Louis, Falstaff, $1,200. No performance, Atlanta. The audience waited 2 hours, then they gave the money back. Birmingham, the same thing.
Ned. Ned, how hard it is for you. But he could not go alone. And only you can guard him and keep him safe when the spells come.
It's hard for you too, Aisha, being a mother to us all.
Go on, boy.
Oh, hail, great master, brave sir, hail. I come to answer thy best pleasure, be it to fly, to swim, to dive into the fire, to ride on the curl clouds. To thy strong bidding, task Ariel and all his quality.
Hast thou spirit performed to point the tempest that I bade thee?
To every article, I drink the air before me in return, or ere your pulse twice beat.
Back! Take your bow, Johnny.
I hear no applause.
A booth, a true booth. Keep them waiting. Make them thunder it across the footlights. Here's your applause, Johnny. Have a care, laddie, you'll choke me. You're not going to push me off the stage yet, are you? You're not going to take my place for a while, I hope.
When he does, he will be the greatest boost of them all. The greatest actor that ever lived.
A large order, my girl. I trust their memory of me will survive his onslaught. And do you intend to bill yourself as the greatest actor that ever lived?
No, just John Wilkes Booth. That will be enough.
An actor? No, not yet. But a Booth, yes, it is inescapable.
Let me do Richard for you.
Yes, Father, let him. It's thrilling. Let him do it.
The best Richard I ever saw. Yes, sir.
Et tu, Brute? Are we all under Johnny's spell? Are we all helpless before him? Enough for now. Tomorrow, you shall do Richard, my beautiful boy.
time to dress, Father.
Eh? What do we play tonight?
Richard, it's a San Francisco opening, don't you remember?
Richard. I don't want to, Nate. I can't. Why do you make me do it?
Because I'm proud of you, Father. Because I want these people in the West to see Junius Brutus Booth act well. They'll be seeing you for the first time, Father. They built this theater for you. You're going on tour where no great actor has ever been seen before. They've waited a year for your coming, Father. You must give them your best.
I'll act you off the stage tonight, Ned. Thus high by thy advice and thy assistance is King Richard seated. But shall we wear these honors for a day, or shall they last, and we rejoice in them?
Still live they, and forever may they last.
Buckingham. Now do I play the touch. To try if thou be current gold indeed. Young Edward lives.
Now what I would say.
Think now what I would say.
Say on, my loving lord. Say on, my loving lord.
Why, Buckingham, I say I would be king.
Oh, Buckingham, I say I would be king.
Why, so you are, my thrice renowned liege.
Ha! Am I king? Ned, am I king?
I just don't believe it. Either you're jesting, Mr. Booth, and a bad joke it is, or you've calmly set out to ruin me.
Ruin you, my dear fellow? Why should I want to ruin you? I hardly know you. No, it's much simpler than that. I am going home. That is all. I am returning home.
But you have a contract with me, sir. A legal document binding you to this tour.
I have yet to see a piece of paper that could make a Booth act if he did not choose to.
That is unfortunate. But I've engaged a company. I've arranged a tour, mortgaged my savings.
That was a mistake, my dear Prescott. To put your money in the hands of children. And actors are childlike beings, as you will learn if you have anything more to do with them in the future.
Mr. Booth, I throw myself on your mercy. I'm not an honest man. In this hard, tough world out here, I've made my way deviously. And not always with grace. But all my life, I've had one honest passion, the theater. Great acting. A talent like yours. This venture with you, Mr. Booth, represents a dream I've always cherished. To be in some way a small part of this magic world that I could never enter. And into this, I've honestly thrown the dishonest gains of a lifetime. Every cent I possess. Doesn't this touch you, Mr. Booth?
To the heart, Mr. Prescott. You underestimate your own talent. But it's quite useless. I will pay you the compliment of telling you the truth, which I learned for myself on the stage tonight. I can no longer act. I am no longer able to act.
And I tell you, Mr. Booth, that doesn't matter. They'll pay to see Junius Brutus Booth whether he stumbles or not.
Will they indeed? Well, if people will cross the seas to stare at the ruins of a cathedral, no doubt they will pay money to look at the ruins of a man. We should have played the Tempest tonight, Ned, not Richard. Prospero's lines are fitting. Perhaps I wouldn't have stumbled over them. Our revels now are ended. These, our actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits and are melted into air, into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, yea, all which it inherit shall dissolve. And like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made on. And our little life is rounded with a sleep. Here, Ned. I won't be needing it any longer. Your contract calls for a booth to undertake this tour, sir. Well, you've got a booth. There he is. Edwin, will you pay me the compliment not to accompany me tonight? Good night, gentlemen.
I refuse to accept this.
Mr. Prescott. You've just seen King abdicate.
Come on, you old tightwad. Go ahead, put in some more dust. It's worth your whole book to see Junior's Brutus Booth. Go on, put it in there. Now go on. Go ahead, wash it. What's the old boy playing tonight, Dave?
Mr. Booth, sir, is playing Richard tonight.
Richard. Oh, Richard was the best thing he ever did. Excuse me.
Wait a minute, everybody, listen. This whole thing is a dad-blame fraud. It's a big lie. I once shook hands with Junius Brutus Booth back in St. Louis, Missouri.
Well, I just went back here to shake hands with him again. He wasn't even there. Wait a minute. There wasn't nobody there but a hewing, wet-nosed boy pretending to be Booth.
Tell them the truth and give them back their dust. We'll turn back for San Francisco in the morning.
Said you believed in me. You said it was star or swing.
We can't afford to take the chance. They might really hang you. Listen to them.
Sit down. Sit down!
Yes. It's the son, not the father. The son. Keep still for 5 minutes and I'll give you the damnedest Richard you've ever seen. The name is Booth. Now is the winter of our discontent made glorious summer by this sun of York. And all the clouds that lowered about our house in the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Now are our brows bound with victorious wreaths, our bruised arms hung up for monuments, our stern alarms changed to merry meetings, and now, instead of mounting barbed steeds to fright the souls of fearful adversaries, he capers nimbly in a lady's chamber to the lascivious pleasing of a lute. But that I'm not shaped for sportive tricks, nor made to court an amorous looking-glass. I that am rudely stamped and want love's wit to strut before a wanton ambling nymph. Cheated of feature by dissembling nature, deformed, unfinished, sent before my time into this breathing world. Scarce half made up, and that so lamely and unfashionable the dogs bark at me as I halt by them. Why, I, in this weak, piping time of peace, have no delight to pass away the time. And therefore, since I cannot prove a lover to entertain these fair, well-spoken days, I am determined to prove a villain.
Bind up my wounds.
Have mercy, Jesus.
Soft. I did but dream. Oh, coward conscience, how dost thou afflict me? The lights burn blue. The lights burn blue. It is dead midnight. Cold, fearful drops stand on my trembling flesh. My conscience hath 1,000 several tongues, and every tongue brings in a several tale, and every tale condemns me for a villain. Perjury, perjury in the direst degree. Murder, stern murder in the highest degree. Throng to the bar, crying all, guilty, guilty. I shall despair. There is no creature loves me, and when I die, no soul shall pity me. And wherefore should they, since that I myself find in myself no pity to myself? A horse, my kingdom for a horse.
Withdraw, my lord. I'll help you to a horse.
Slave, I've set my life upon the cast, and I withstand the hazard of the die. I think there be 6 Richmonds in the field. 5 have I slain today instead of him. A horse! A horse! My kingdom for a horse!
Great, Ned. You were great. Simply great. Listen to that. This is only the beginning, Ned. I've got great plans for us. We'll finish the tour, and then we'll go east. New York, with the new Booth. The successor to his father, the new star. Ned, do you hear what I'm saying?
I acted well tonight.
Ah, my boy. I once shook the hand of your father, the great Junius Brutus Booth, but he was never the actor you are. Ah, here, have a drink.
Thanks.
Is the madness in me, too? Oh, God. Is the taint in me, too, Father?
Ned, a message came through for you. It's not good news.
Is it Father?
Yes.
He's dead.
Yes, Ned.
How did he die?
On the boat up from New Orleans.
Was he alone?
Yes.
I should have been with him. I should have gone with him. Poor Father. Poor old man.
Yes, sir?
I'm Edwin Booth.
Are you related to Mr. John Wilkes Booth?
I didn't know you were in Washington. We've been waiting for you to come home.
I went to the house. Old Ben told me.
Not now. He mustn't hear your voice. He mustn't know you're here, Ned. It'll make him nervous. Afterwards. After the performance. You mustn't be disturbed now. It's time for his entrance now. Sit back so he doesn't see you.
Verona, for a while I take my leave to see my friends in Padua, but of all, my best beloved and approved friend, Hortensio. And I trow this is his house. You flatter me, Colonel. I merely bask a little in the reflected glory of my father. But I should be honored, sir, to come to the plantation on Sunday. Will you remember, Aisha? Ned! Welcome. Welcome home, Ned. My brother, ladies and gentlemen, my brother, Edwin Booth. My brother has been acting in the far west, a most fascinating experience. They act in mining camps and saloons out there. But it's true, isn't it, Ned?
Perfectly true.
Right in the saloons, with the bars going full blast, while the actors blast Shakespeare on their own. My poor brother has been shot at, run out of town. Imagine an audience of critics with pistols in their laps. I rather fancy Hamlet saying, be or not to be. That is the question. Then bang! And that finishes the soliloquy. And Hamlet, too.
You must be delighted to be safe in the East again, Mr. Booth.
What will you do now, Mr. Booth? Continue to act?
Edwin's going to be with us. He was Father's manager for many years. John, please get out of your costume. You're wet through. You'll catch cold.
I need you, Ned. I need someone desperately to manage Asia. Come on, Ned, come in. Good night. Thank you. Thank you for coming back. You will forgive me, I'm sure. My brother has some tall tales to tell that I'm most eager to hear. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Well, Ned. Cigar? No, thank you. Well, what do you think of the idea? Asia spoke too soon as usual, but will you join me as my manager?
It's a large question to give a quick answer to, Johnny.
Take your time. No need for haste. I'm doing very well, you know. I haven't played in the North yet, but in the South, I'm a major attraction. Full houses everywhere. Did you notice how they were jammed in tonight?
Yes?
And how they accept me as a star?
Yes?
You haven't said a word about my performance yet.
You're an arresting figure on the stage, John.
No, I fill a pair of tights satisfactorily. But what about the acting?
It'll improve with experience.
Saloon experience?
Experience. You need training and discipline as an actor. Passion for acting isn't enough.
I take it that is your answer to joining me.
Yes?
You're going to go on acting by yourself.
Yes?
Is that why you let Father come home alone? Is that why you let him die? So you could be the first to star yourself?
I earned the right, Johnny. I earned it all those years you were warm in your bed. Earned it, sitting underneath the stage on a pile of scenery and listening. Earned it in years and years of dirty lodgings, flicking the bedbugs off the page while I listened to Father and his lines, in the stench of his drunken breath when I was opposite him on the stage, in the nights when he was filled with genius, and in the nights when he was mad. Earned it with my guts and my childhood, Johnny. But I can play Richard in a saloon now, Johnny, and I've paid too high a price for it not to go on. What are you afraid of? 2 booths? You've got the head start. Only earn it, Johnny. There's more to what Father left than this.
Yes, miss?
Have you seen Mr. Edwin Booth?
Booth? He's next door.
Thank you.
Miss, I wouldn't go in there if I was you.
Mr. Booth? Is Mr. Booth here?
What do you want?
Is Mr. Edwin Booth here?
He might be and he might not. Haven't I seen you somewhere before?
I'm with the stock company at the theater. You may have seen me on stage.
Oh, that's right. You're the girl we like so much. We go every week and sit in the upper box.
I've noticed. If Mr. Booth is here, will you help me get him to rehearsal? The company's at the theater, and...
Who are you? What do you want? You deaf? Who are you? Open your mouth. Who are you?
I'm your Juliet, Mr. Booth.
Juliet. Oh, speak again, bright angel. For thou art as glorious to this night, being o'er my head, as is the winged messenger of heaven to the white upturned, wondering eyes of mortals that fall back to gaze on him when he bestrides the lazy pacing clouds and sails upon the bosom of the air.
Oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name, or if thou wilt not, be but sworn my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet.
Shall I hear more? Or shall I speak at this?
'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. Thou art thyself, though not a Montague. Oh, be some other name. What's in a name? That which we call a rose. By any other name would smell as sweet. So Romeo would, were he not Romeo cold, retain that dear perfection which he owes without that title. Romeo, doff thy name, and for that name which is no part of thee, take all myself.
I take thee at thy word. Call me but love, and I'll be new baptized. Henceforth, I never will be Romeo.
What man art thou that thus be screened in night, so stumblest on my counsel?
By name, I know not how to tell you who I am. My name, dear saint, is hateful to myself, because it is an enemy to thee. Had I written, I would tear the word.
By whose direction foundst thou this place?
By love, who first did prompt me to inquire. He lent me counsel, and I lent him eyes. I am no pilot, yet wert thou as far as that vast shore washed by the further sea, I would adventure for such merchandise.
Thou knowst the mask of night is on my face, else would a maiden blush bepaint my cheek for that which thou hast heard me speak tonight. Fain would I dwell on form, fain deny what I have spoke. But farewell, compliment. Dost thou love me? I know thou wilt say I, and I will take thy word. Yet if thou swearest, thou mayest prove false. At lovers' perjuries, they say Jove laughs. O gentle Romeo, if thou dost love, pronounce it faithfully. Or if thou thinkst I am too quickly won, I'll frown and be perverse and say thee nay, so thou wilt woo. But else not for the world. In truth, fair Montague, I am too fond. And therefore thou mayest think my behavior light, but trust me, gentlemen, I'll prove more true than those that have more cunning to be strange. I should have been more strange, I must confess, but that thou overheardst ere I was ware my true love's passion. Therefore pardon me, and not impute this yielding to light love, which the dark night hath so discovered.
Lady, by yonder blessed moon I swear that tips with silver all these fruit tree tops.
Oh, swear not by the moon, the inconstant moon, that monthly changes in her circled orb, lest that thy love prove likewise variable.
What shall I swear by?
Do not swear at all. Or if thou wilt, swear by thy gracious self, which is the god of my idolatry, and I'll believe thee.
If my heart's dear love...
Well, do not swear. Although I joy in thee, I have no joy of this contract tonight. It is too rash, too unadvised, too sudden, too like the lightning which doth cease to be ere one can say it lightens. Sweet, good night. This bud of love by summer's ripening breath may prove a beauteous flower when next we meet. Good night. Good night. As sweet repose and rest come to thy heart as that within my breast.
How wilt thou leave me so unsatisfied?
What satisfaction canst thou have tonight?
The exchange of thy love's faithful vow for mine.
I gave thee mine before thou didst request it, and yet I would it were to give again.
Wouldst thou withdraw it? For what purpose, love?
But to be frank and give it thee again. And yet I wish but for the thing I have. My bounty is as boundless as the sea. My love is deep. The more I give to thee, the more I have. For both are infinite. It is almost morning. I would have thee gone. And yet, no further than a wanton's bird who lets it hop a little from her hand, like a poor prisoner in his twisted gyves, and with the silk thread plucks it back again, so loving jealous of his liberty. Good night. Good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall say good night till it be morrow.
Sleep dwell upon thine eyes, peace in thy breast. Would I were sleep and peace so sweet to rest.
Come along, Mr. Booth. Thy lips are warm. Yea, noise? Then I'll be brief. Oh, happy dagger, This is thy sheath. There rust, and let me die.
Mary. Be careful, Mary. Be careful of getting in too deep.
Why do you say that?
I watched you on stage tonight. I watched him, too. Oh, be careful. Don't be swept away. It isn't safe. There's a taint in all the booths. A touch of genius and a streak of madness. I knew his father. He's very like his father.
My friend is right. My father was a drunkard and a madman. She's quite right. Be careful of the booths. Goodbye, Miss Devlin.
I said goodbye. What do you want?
It isn't goodbye.
Look at me. Look into my eyes. Is there a hint of madness in them? Look at me well, Mary Devlin. You want to be tied to a drunkard and a libertine? To a man who believes he's tainted with his father's madness? Do you know what it's like not to know? Not to be able to believe that the talent I possess is not a curse as well? You want to be tied to that?
I see no madness in your eyes, Edwin, nor in the heart and soul of the man beyond them. I know that with my whole being.
How can you know? How can you know what I am?
I know. I want to spend my life with you.
Fool. Silly.
You have exactly 28 minutes to catch your train.
Train?
You have an opening in Mobile tomorrow night.
I can't. We're getting married.
Married? What do you think you are, people? You're actors. Now hurry up and get dressed. You can get married in Mobile.
I think I should like that. To be married in Mobile. Wake up, Edwin.
Hmm?
That's all the sleep you can afford at the moment, my dear. You don't know Henry's long speech for tonight. Come ahead, wake yourself up and let's get on with it.
I slept for exactly 5 minutes. I merely closed my eyes.
I closed my ears to the snores for over an hour.
I never snore. Do I snore?
Come, darling, stop delaying. You don't know the speech.
I do know the speech. I do know it.
Then say it. If thou canst love a fellow of this temper, Kate.
If thou canst love a fellow of this temper, Kate, whose face is not worth sunburning, that never looks in his glass for love of anything he sees there, let thine eye be thy cook. There you are. See, I know it. Ah, what a day. I have spring fever.
In the fall?
The booths always have spring fever in the fall when the theaters are open.
I speak to thee, plain soldier.
Mary, I can't remember lines on a day like this.
But you can't act without lines. I speak to thee, plain soldier.
Mary, it's such a beautiful day.
Edwin, stop it.
If I wanted a manager for a wife, I'd have married Dave Prescott.
I speak to thee, plain soldier.
I speak to thee, plain soldier. If thou canst take me for this, take me. If not, to say to thee that I shall die is true, but for thy love, by the Lord, no. Yet I love thee too. I'd die if you stopped loving me, Mary.
And while thou livest, dear Kate.
You know something? You're a snob. You want to be known as the wife of the greatest actor in the world, and that's snobbish.
That's right.
That's right.
10 weeks from tomorrow, you'll be playing Hamlet in London. In London, Edwin. I want you to dazzle them. And then return in triumph to New York, America's first actor. Because that's what you must be. Not because I want it. It's your gift and your purpose. Your reason for being. And mine, too. I'll never be derelict to that purpose. Nor will I let you be. And while thou livest, dear Kate.
And while thou livest, dear Kate, take a fellow of plain and uncoined constancy, who never looks in his glass for love of anything he sees there. For he perforce must do thee right. Thou'st have such a one. Take me. Take me. Take a soldier. Take a soldier. Take a king. Take an actor and make him a man. Take a miserable creature and give him understanding and love and devotion. Oh, my beloved. Do you know what you mean to me, my best beloved? Do you know what you've given me, my wonder and delight?
Those are not the lines. I'm sure of them.
Hey!
It's Dave. Who gave him his cue to enter?
Ed, it's from your sister.
Asia?
She said it was urgent.
What is it, Edwin?
Asia, she needs me. Johnny's in some kind of trouble. Why is he doing this? Why is he mixed up in all this? I don't understand.
Don't you? It's you, Ned. His envy of you is overpowering. Your success maddens him. Each time he plays in the North, they compare him with you. And the critics have been murderous. In the South, he's always acclaimed. That only makes him more bitter. It's the North he really respects. And it galls him. Galls him. That's why he's done this. Taken up the cause of these Southern hotheads. I'm afraid now, Ned, I'm afraid. Have I done this to him? With my dreams of fame for him? Filling his head with wild ideas of glory? Have I done this to him? I'll wait for you at the inn. Bring him with you. Make him come.
All right. Drive to the inn.
This tyranny of the North, gentlemen, then the South is lost.
He's right.
Lost by cowards and traitors. If John Brown does not hang tomorrow morning, if you gentlemen of the Virginia militia let them stop you, then Hopper's very are words of infamy. Right. Its name will ring on every abolitionist's tongue like a death knell for the South. Right. Let that gallows tell the North that Southern blood will drench each inch of soil in preference to dishonor.
Yes. Great events bring strangers, even brothers together. 2 whiskeys.
what I hear true, Ned. Since your marriage, you're both sober
And faithful.
Have a drink with you tonight. Good. How did you find me here, Ned? Our sister? Our dear interfering sister? I've warned Asia for the last time to stay out of my life. You're wasting your breath, Ned, if you're here as her ambassador.
No, I came to see you on my own. Came to make you an offer, John. Well, that's a bad way of putting it. I'd like us to be together in London.
As your manager?
No, as my co-star. We'd alternate in Shakespearean repertory. You'd play Laertes to my Hamlet one night, and I to yours the next. I'd play Iago to your Othello, and you to mine, and so on.
Very generous offer. Very touching. Thanks. But I prefer to play a role of my own choosing. Let me show you something. There he is. John Brown. Look at him, Ned. Pacing up and down his cell, dreaming of an army with banners that will come to rescue him. But it is not coming.
Why do you hate him so? A man you've never known.
Hate him? I don't hate him. In his way, he's a great man. But to destroy greatness is to partake of greatness. Shakespeare knew that. Remember, Ned, when he had Brutus say of Caesar, let's carve him as a dish fit for the gods? Shakespeare never wrote drama like this. John Brown will die tomorrow. Not play acting at death, but to rise for the applause as the curtain falls. Swing by his neck as the sun comes up in mortal anguish. Listen to those voices. Not supers in the wings. Real men. Those voices are real. Sound could fill this land with agony. Ned, there must be more glory to life than bowing and smirking to an audience. More to fame than a well-spoken Hamlet. There's a mortal drama beginning to be played out here that will dwarf 1,000 Hamlets. That's the stage to play upon, Ned. The smell of life and blood in your nostrils. Waiting for your cue until destiny speaks the line.
John Wilkes Booth.
I'm coming. Goodbye, Ned. And good fortune. Have no fears about London. You don't have to play Hamlet. You are Hamlet. You always were. Tell Asia she failed.
Heard of your paintings, too, well enough. God has given you one face, and you make yourself another. Jig, amble, and you lisp, and you nickname God's creatures and make your wantonness your ignorance. Well, too, I know morons. It has made me mad! I say there will be no more marriages. Those that are married already, all but one, shall live. The rest shall stay as they are. To a nunnery, go!
I'll do nothing of the sort. Hamlet, come to bed. It's very late.
What makes you think I could close my eyes?
Oh, poor darling. You won't feel any better until that first curtain falls.
Mm-hmm.
I'd play it for you myself if I could. But I imagine it would take quite some explaining, the fact that Hamlet was going to have a baby. I'm afraid I couldn't hide it. It would change the play considerably.
It would indeed.
Hamlet, I am thy father's ghost. What is that roundness about thy middle, Hamlet? What is that thou hast brought home with thee?
You all right?
Yes, I'm all right.
Annie, never leave me, even for a minute. Do you promise?
I promise.
I'm afraid of nothing.
England, beware! A new Hamlet storms your shores. Perfidious Albion, the Dark Prince comes.
Who's there? Nay, answer me. Stand and unfold yourself. Long live the king. Nardo, most carefully upon your arm. 'Tis now struck 12. Get thee to rest, Francisco. For this relief, much thanks. 'Tis bitter cold, and I am sick at heart. Have you had...
Come live with me and be my love, and we will all the pleasures prove.
If you do meet Teresa and...
What on earth are you doing here?
I was lonely for
Darling, you're mad. They'll see you.
They paid to see me an extra agent.
Have you gone crazy, both of you? Ned, get back on that stage.
Give you good night.
Oh, farewell, honest soldier. Who hath relieved you?
Bernardo has my place. Give you good night.
Hola, Bernardo.
Say, what is the ratio there?
A piece of him.
Really, Mary? From all the childish pranks. Supposing the audience had seen you. This isn't a mining camp, you know.
Therefore, I have entreated him along with us to watch the minutes of this night. And if again this apparition comes,
Mary, is anything wrong?
It's nothing. It's really nothing.
Are you all right?
I hear him coming. Let's withdraw in order.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing, end them. To die, to sleep no more. And by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished to die, to sleep. To sleep. A chance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil, must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of disprized love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin? Who would fardels bear, to grunt and sweat under a weary life? But that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveler returns, puzzles the will. Makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others that we know not of. Thus conscience doth make cowards of us all. And thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with a pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pith and moment with this regard their currents turn awry and lose the name of action.
What devil was that hath cozened you at Hoodman blind? Oh, shame! Where is thy blush? Rebellious hell, if thou canst mutine in a matron's bones, to flaming youth let virtue be as wax and melt in her own fire.
Oh, Hamlet, speak no more. Thou turn'st mine eyes into my very soul. And there I see such black and grained spots as will not leave their tint.
Murderer, the villain, a slave that is not 20th part the tithe of our precedent lord, a vice of kings,
of the empire and the rule, that from a shelf the precious diadem stole and put it in his pocket.
Oh, speak to me no more. These words like daggers enter in mine ears. No more, sweet Hamlet.
A king of shreds and patches!
No more!
Save me and overwhelm me with your wings, you heavenly gods. What would your gracious figure?
Alas, he's mad.
Do you not come your tardy son to chide, that lapsed in time and passion lets go by the important acting of your dread command? Oh, say,
do not forget. This visitation is but to whet thy almost blunted purpose. But look, amazement on thy mother sits. Oh, step between her and her fighting soul. Speak to her, Hamlet.
How is it with you, lady?
Alas, how is it with you, that you do bend your eye on vacancy, and with the incorporeal air do hold discourse? Oh, gentle son, upon the heat and flame of thy distemper, sprinkle cool patience. Whereon do you look?
On him. Look you how pale he glares. His form and course conjoined, preaching to stones, would make them capable. Do not look upon me, lest with that piteous action you convert my stern effects, and what I have to do may want true color, tears perchance for blood.
To whom do you speak this?
Do you see nothing there?
Nothing at all. Yet all it is I see.
Do you nothing hear?
No, nothing but ourselves.
Look. Look where he steals away. My father, in his habit as he lived. Look. Look where he goes, even now, out of the portal.
This is the very coinage of your brain. This bodiless creation ecstasy is very cunning in.
Ecstasy. My pulse is yours that temporarily keep time and makes us healthful music. It is not madness that I have uttered, mother. For love of grace, not that flattering unction to your soul, that not your trespass, but my madness speaks. Confess yourself to heaven. Repent what's past. Avoid what is to come, and do not spread the compost on the weeds to make them ranker.
Oh, Hamlet, thou hast cleft my heart in twain.
Oh, throw away the worser part of it and live the purer with the other half. Good night. Go not to mine uncle's bed. Assume a virtue if you have it not. Once more, good night. And when you are desirous to be blessed, I'll blessing beg of you. Horatio, I am dead, thou livest. Report me and my cause aright to the unsatisfied. God, Horatio, what a wounded named thing standing thus unknown shall live behind me. If thou didst ever hold me in thy heart, absent thee from felicity a while, and in this harsh world draw thy breath in pain to tell my story. I die, Horatio. The potent poison quite o'ercrows my spirit. Silence.
Now cracks a noble heart. Good night, sweet prince. And flights of angels sing thee to thy rest.
Mary's all right.
Where is she? What's happened?
She felt suddenly ill. I took her home and got a doctor. Now she's all right. Hurry up and change.
Change? I don't want the baby. Do you understand? I don't want the baby. If there's the slightest danger to my wife, I don't
Unless
want
it's possible for Mr. Booth to listen calmly, Mr. Prescott, I must ask leave to withdraw.
Hey, you're not helping Mary.
I'm sorry. Forgive me. Tell me what to do.
This may be a blessing in disguise, Mr. Booth. Actually, she collapsed not because of the baby, but because of her lungs. Nothing alarming at the moment, but a warning, Mr. Booth. A warning in time. Plenty of rest and quiet.
My lungs. There's no sign. No sign at all.
Edwin? Is that you? Are you back, darling?
Don't leave me, Mary. Don't ever leave me.
Leave you? I shall be here to plague you for years, my darling. With new lines to learn, new children to be born, new triumphs to push you into. I asked the doctor to tell you the truth. Whatever did he say to frighten you so?
The doctor didn't frighten him, Mary. He frightened the doctor.
In that costume, too. I'm sure he never had Hamlet's wife for a patient before. Darling, I want to hear everything. Did they cheer? Was there an ovation?
I don't know. I went out and I bowed, and then I looked up and you weren't there. That's all I remember.
It was an absolute triumph, Mary.
Edwin, I want you to listen to me now. I want you to listen to me very carefully. You must go on with the tour.
No, the tour isn't important
It's
now.
what we came for, what we've dreamed of for so long. You're very close to your goal now, my darling. It would break my heart if you let it slip by. Do you promise? Edwin, are you listening to me?
I'll promise anything if you're not really ill.
Not. Look at me. And it's the best medicine you could give me. Promise me, Edwin. Promise me.
I promise. The doctor said rest and quiet. No more now. No more.
Good night, Mary.
Gentlemen, we ask your indulgence. With your permission, Hamlet will not take his call this evening because Hamlet has just become the father of a 5-pound baby girl. We could not hold him. May I suggest a round of applause to usher a new Booth into the world.
Fine, Ned.
She's asking for you, Hamlet.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
Good night, Mr. Prescott. Good night, sir.
Another Juliet. Do you mind?
Of course not.
Do you mind your daughter being born on foreign soil?
Mm-hmm. Not quite on foreign soil. I've been prepared for this. I'm sure our English friends won't mind if we borrow a bit of London for this occasion.
A little toast, Ned. To the three of you.
To the four of us.
And to the old banner of freedom. to you, Mr. Booth.
Thank you, Colonel. I'll be back to dine with you next Thursday evening.
Why do you bother to come here? You hate the North.
To see you?
That's a lie.
A lie? You've grown very harsh with me, Asia.
What are you up to? What are you doing? You're here very often these days. Why? What are you doing?
Doing the only thing I know how to do. Acting. Acting in Philadelphia tomorrow night. In your beloved North.
Why? Why'd you cross the line so frequently?
Put that down. There's no reason why you shouldn't know. I owe you something. So many things, dear Asia. Including this excellent breakfast. I enjoy acting in the North now, Asia. I wallow in it. Edwin never gave the performance I do these nights. These are my real lines.
I don't want to see. I don't want to
Distractions for Confederate agents in the North. I'm the most valuable actor in the world. More valuable to the South than General Lee's finest brigade.
A traitor. I worshipped you, John. I worshipped you all my life. No. There's nothing left. Nothing. It was all useless. Useless.
Yes, Asia. I could never be the actor Edwin is. We were fools, both of us. Even Father. Have you heard what a success Ned has had in England? He'll have an equal triumph here now, I'm sure. He'll compare us again. Now that he's finally coming back. How little it matters anymore. Poor Ned. How small the stage he acts upon seems these days.
I'll be with you in a moment, gentlemen.
Let him act. These days, Asia, I prefer to be a traitor.
Johnny! Johnny, don't go! Come back!
Are we in New York, Father?
Yes, this is where we're going to live from now on. Do you want to wait for a minute?
No, I'm all right. Just give me your arm. November 24th, opening night. The triumphant return of Edwin Booth, America's first actor in Hamlet. Oh, Edwin. Dave, please let me stay just for opening night. I promise I'll be well. I promise I'll leave the next morning. Please, Dave, I've waited so long for this.
Doctor was very strict, Mary. You must have a cold, dry climate immediately. And we won't be able to open for at least 2 weeks.
All right. But Edwin will have a cold, dry wife if you keep me up there too long. Let's see the poster again.
We'll keep it running until you get back to see it.
Till I get back, Dave?
Of course you'll be back. This time you'll see the whole performance.
Watch over him, Dave. Guard him for me every moment. Guard him well for me, Dave, until I can be by his side again.
What's the matter with Booth? I don't like that kind of violence in my theater, Prescott, or that much strangeness either. And why did he insist on the stage box being empty tonight? I could have sold it 50 times over. What's the matter with him?
You, sir, have the finest Hamlet of our time on your stage. If he wants the box empty, it stays empty.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone, sir!
If it is humanly possible, I beg of you to come to New York, if only for a night or two. The great success he has had means nothing to him. The old fears are back tenfold without you here. We have rung the curtain down 3 times this past week. He was not sober enough to continue. I can no longer reach him. I beg of you to come.
Come in.
It's the doctor, Mrs. Booth.
Oh, send him in.
Well, good afternoon, Mrs. Booth. I was driving by, and I just thought I'd look in on you.
Good afternoon, Doctor. Well, you've managed a small miracle. I suddenly feel completely well.
Well, now, that's good news indeed. That smile is mighty pleasant to see again, Mrs. Booth.
It may be jumping a little with excitement. I feel well enough to pay a short visit to New York.
New York? Well, now, the first trip we'll try is a little walk around the room and see how we manage that. And then in a month or so, we'll try a short drive. We're not going to even think of New York just yet. I'll stop by again this evening, Mrs. Booth. Not a toe out of that bed, remember?
Mrs. Booth.
Order the carriage round. We're taking
The doctor said for you to
The doctor's too careful. Do as you're told. Just don't stand there. Help me. My husband needs me.
Oh, Edward, be brave, my darling. Wait for me, I'm coming. I won't leave you again, my dearest.
Through the hay-ho, the wind and the rain, with toss-spot still-eyed drunken head, for the rain it raineth every day, with the hay-ho, the wind and the rain, for the rain.
Look at this, you drunken fool.
Accept any offer they make me, you're my manager.
Can you read what it says? This is to me. Why doesn't Mr. Booth answer telegrams? Mrs. Booth dangerously ill. If you have telegrams, where are they?
All in my office. Help yourself. Never answer telegrams. They're always after something.
A great while ago, the world began with the hay-ho, the wind and the rain. But that's all done, our plague is won.
Ned! Mary, your wife is dying. Jim, refund the money for tonight. There'll be no performance. Get a carriage right around to the stage door.
Speak again, bright angel. Speak again. Speak.
The grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, and the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Ghost be with us all evermore. Amen.
O my love, my wife, death that hath sucked the honey of thy breath hath had no power yet upon thy beauty. I still will stay with thee, and never from this palace of dim night depart again. Tell me, Mary. Tell me what to do. Tell me, my darling. Tell me.
Asia?
Dave.
Does he still come here every day?
Each day. He stays like that for hours sometimes.
Dave. I sent for you, Dave, because I want to act again.
Good.
Asia, I want to see my daughter. I know now that Mary's love was not wasted. There is no taint and no madness that I cannot conquer with her help.
Peace. It must be peace. The war's over.
Oh, merciful Father, thank you. Johnny will be safe now. Johnny will be safe.
Don't tie him, son. I won't be long.
First time the president's been to the
You'll
theater.
not need a ticket from me, will you?
Of course not, Mr. Booth.
Thank you.
The president's here tonight.
I know.
That's Mr. John Wilkes Booth, Edwin Booth's brother. He's an actor, too.
My love, you'd better go. You crave affection, you do. I have no fortune, but I'm boiling over with affections, which I'm ready to pour out all over you. Like applesauce over roast pork.
Mr. Trenchard, you will please recollect you are addressing my daughter, and in my presence.
Yep, I'm offering her my heart and hand, just as she wants them, with nothing in them.
I am aware, Mr. Trenchard, you are not used to the manners of good society, and that alone will excuse the impertinence of which you have been guilty.
Don't know the manners of good society, huh? Well, I guess I know enough to turn you inside out, old gal. You sock-dologizing old man cat. Hey, you there.
Six separate Tyrannus!
Polonius was a fool, but you mustn't play him like a fool. Like many fools, he was free with his advice, but I think the author intended it to be good advice.
Quiet! Please be quiet out there.
Would you permit me, Mr. Stanley, to run through the lines I think Shakespeare meant it to be read? Not pompously, not fatuously, but simply, honestly.
Would you please be quiet? Dave, can you do something about that noise? We're rehearsing here.
President?
Edwin, what is it? Let me see. Johnny. Is Johnny safe?
He got away.
God protect him.
Don't go out there.
All right, Booth, we know you're in there. Come on out.
Come and get me, gentlemen.
I'll give you 1 minute, Booth, then we're going to burn the barn down. Get that lamp. Your time's running out, Booth. Come on out of there.
I'm no criminal. Why don't you give a lame man a chance?
The same chance you gave the president. Break that window. Knock that one in.
God, let me die bravely.
Get him out of here.
dead prisoner, Colonel.
We don't want you to die, Booth. We want you to live so we can hang you.
Alicia. Useless. Useless.
Can I have a lock of his hair?
Why not?
Precedent is not yet dry in our memories. Is a Booth to be allowed to appear? I say no.
Gentlemen, please, think what you're doing. Edwin Booth is an innocent man. Can you blame him and hold him guilty for what his brother did?
Our president was murdered by an actor. I say every theater in the country should be torn down. I say take every actor and ride him out of town on a rail.
Abraham Lincoln died in the very doorway to hell. The theater's corruption. All actors are panders and traitors.
Here's a medicine for Booth, boys. If he dares to show his face, we'll stretch his neck.
Mr. Preston, you're not going to ring that curtain up, are you? can't force us to go on stage and open this play.
Well, that settles it, Ned. The actors are refusing to go out there and open the play.
I know. We'll open with the second scene. Would you ask the cast to assemble on the stage if they're willing? I ask no one to go out there who isn't willing. Don't look so glum, Dave. After all, we've got a full house.
That's not an audience, Ned. It's a mob. I can't let you go out there. They'll tear you to pieces. They're out for blood.
Dave, listen. It isn't only me they hate or the name of Booth. It's all of us, the whole profession. It isn't right or just that actors be damned forever for what Johnny did. I owe my profession a debt. I intend to pay it. Tonight. Asia agrees with me. There's another reason, Dave. One that I know you'll understand. Mary. She said to me once, you're an actor, not just because I want it. It's your gift and your purpose, your reason for being, and mine, too. I'll never be derelict to that purpose. Nor will I let you be. The name is still Booth, Dave. Now, would you ask the players to assemble on the stage?
All right, Ned. All right, Sam.
Murderer!
Come on, let's get up.
Send for the police. It's a riot.
By golly, he's got guts.
Booth, you're all right!
good night. Good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall say good night till it be morrow.
That was Maggie McNamara as Edwin's wife, Mary Devlin Booth. Her story is probably one of the most tragic in Hollywood. She didn't do an awful lot in her career. She was very successful early on in life. She worked as a fashion model in New York while she was still a teenager, and she made her Broadway debut. She was only 22 years old at the time. Now, she received fantastic reviews when she replaced Barbara Bel Geddes in the stage version of The Moon is Blue. And then she repeated that role for the 1953 film version. Now, this was her very first film, and she was nominated right then for an Academy Award as Best Actress. She starred in 2 more films soon afterwards. There was 3 Coins in the Fountain and The Prince of Players, but unfortunately, she only made 4 films in her career. Now, let's do the movie question of the day. What canine movie star once earned $1,000 a week